Welcome back, Naughty Knitters. I'm Tawnya, also known as A Naughty Knitter 2 on both Instagram and Ravelry. I'm coming to you from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, a cute little lake town nestled up in the Pacific Northwest, where I live with my fiance, Mr. Knot, and our 3 French bulldogs. And you, my friends, have found the French Knot, my little corner of the internet where we love to talk about all the knitty, yarny, fibery topics. Today I have a pretty traditional podcast for you. We're going to be talking about finished objects, of course, whips, and since it's Tour de Fleece, we can't leave us spinning. And I do have some new sewing projects that I want to share with you now that I've started my sewing adventure in the segment, The French Seam. So, if that sounds like just your cup of tea, grab a cozy beverage, grab your knitting, snuggle up with your favorite fur friend, and let's dive in. So, what am I wearing, you ask? Well, thank you for asking. This is my newly finished mammoth of a project, the MusicKAL 2026 by Mr. Stephen West. Oh my gosh, you guys. This project, this was almost the death of me. So, not only is it what I'm wearing, but it's also my finished object. I'm going to take it off so we can talk about it a little bit, and you can also see what I'm wearing underneath. So I'm once again, this is my Thea top by Suzanne Mueller. It's knit up in Sanduscar and Line in the colorway Kit. Great pattern. Now back to my actual finished object by Stephen West, the MusicKAL. Guys, this project, it was almost the death of me. So I started this back in October. It was the mystery knit along that he does every October. And so you go into it and there's 4 clues. So every week is a clue, and you're supposed to be able to get each section done in that time frame if you're working primarily on that. We started out strong with these scallops. I started right here in this corner. That's where this shawl all started. And then you build out the scallop and you leave some live stitches on, and then you pick up from those live stitches and then repeat the process until you've built out these shells. Now, I think I had, 5 shells on there, and I didn't like my tension. There's just a few things that I felt like were not really fixable and were not what I liked. And since it has so many little segments, I thought there's no point in ripping it out, guys, because you can't really save that yarn. So I just cut it and started over. And that's kind of where things kind of started going nuts. I started to lose steam because you're behind, which is fine. You know, I'm fine with that. But I got going on the next part. I got through with the scallops. They look better. They actually look pretty good. So if you'll notice in the scallops, there's this kind of a garter section right up here. And then there's this raised ridge. And then you have a section of brioche. And then you have the raised ridge again. And then you have this eyelid section here. And then a raised ridge again. And every scallop is that. So it wasn't, I can't say it was hard. It was just fiddly. This first part was fiddly. Now the yarn that I'm using is Daughter Fiber Foxy Lady, which is a 70% merino, 30% silk. So it's kind of a slick yarn. So that kind of adds to a little bit of the challenge I think that I was experiencing. But all is well that ends well. And it's a beautiful yarn. And look at the drape on it. It's hard to get it. There we go. It is, there you can see it. It is so fluid. So the colorways that I used, this grayish color, that is elk antler. The goldish brown is Mad Mardigan. The green, so there's 2 different greens. I held the evergreen, which is the Foxy Lady, with Mighty Mo, which is our mohair in the colorway Gary Cooper, and you get this kind of a green right here. I love this green. It's really, it's good. And then finally, the brown that you see right here is Lazy Moose. So those are the colors that we used. And so, back to the construction. So when you're done with this section right here, you have a bunch of these live stitches still on. They're still live. You did not cast them off. And so then you pick up for these ripples. And these ripples are formed with, they're not really ripples, but waves maybe you would say. So they're formed with short rows and some increases, I believe. And then in between we have this eyelet stitch with the Gary Cooper and Evergreen. So you're making it bigger and doing short rows. So you'll see how much bigger it is over here. See how wide those stripes are? And then over here, how narrow they are. So that is the effect of short rows. So there's just a couple rows over here, but then there's more rows as you go over here. Does that make sense? I hope so. And then when you finish with that, you finish with these waves, you move over, and this is where I was last time, the last podcast. You start doing these rows of diagonals. And so that wasn't really hard. It was just kind of took a long time. Like that was all it was. And it was the one point in the project where I could kind of get into a rhythm a little bit. I kind of memorized it. I knew it was coming. I didn't have to hold on to the pattern. The only time I really had to look at the pattern was when I got to the triangles at the edges. So that really helped get my flow going again. And then I love how that turned out. This part over here is very flowy, and you know, it just has a nice flow, and it's soft and it's rhythmic. And over here it's much starker, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, but I really do. After I got it done, and I know a lot of people changed it. They omitted this part and did some kind of mimicking of this, but I think they really might have missed out, because I really, now that it's on here, I really like this part. I think it really adds to the overall appearance. So that's that. And then for the next section was this right here. We have a mosaic, kind of a brick appearing section, and you'll notice again here you start out with just a few on this end, and then it grows over here to give it that shape. So that section, it wasn't hard. I can't say it was hard, but with it being mosaic, it was a ton of reverse stockinette to make it happen. So, but it turned out really, really lovely. So I do like that. And you are not really binding off anywhere. You just keep holding these stitches and bringing them into the next phase. So the next phase was the brioche. And I'm going to try to hold this up. This is so the bottom three, like you can see, there's the bottom tips. So how can I show you? Here we go. I'll show you over here. So here and here are three different sections of brioche, separated just by some reverse stockinette. He loves his reverse stockinette. So what you do is the brioche, you get going on that, and it's not hard, but this side over here on the geometric side, it's just straight brioche. And then when you get over to this section, you're having to count again, because you're having to do some increases and decreases to keep the shape. You hold it up this way to kind of keep the shape, that undulating shape. So you're having to pay attention again. But overall, the brioche was relatively rhythmic. I learned to kind of appreciate it. And I love the way it looks. I mean, it is really stunning. And then finally, you cast off. It got to be, guys, by the end, I had 550 or 60 stitches on the needles. It took so long to do a row. And then how he has you cast off is with an I-cord. So that was a long cast off, but it turned out very nice. Just a small little I-cord. But it gives it that nice finishing detail. I mean, Stephen West knows how to make an impact. So that's my statement piece, for sure. I have some amazing pieces. I'm not going to lie, but this is probably, I put the most work and the most heart and the most soul into this as any project I've done. I can't think of another one that stretched me as far as this one did. Now, what I will tell you about Stephen West, he not only writes a beautiful pattern with a lot of new techniques that you're going to learn, but he has a full tutorial every time he puts out one of his mystery knit-alongs. And so it's a great opportunity to learn new things and still have your hand held a little bit so that you don't feel like you're flying in the wind and guessing. I really appreciate that. And so each week had video tutorials that are all chapter marked. So if you're curious about a certain part, you just skip ahead to that. But I guess my message would be, don't be too afraid because of what I'm saying to do a Stephen West shawl, because you will have your hand held if you want. What I would say is be ready for a commitment, because this, I used almost all the yarn. I mean, I had probably about that much yarn left of each ball, and those are 450 yard skeins. So I used, gosh, close to 1,800 yards of fingering weight yarn in this, plus the mohair. So that is a lot of stitches. So that's what I mean by it's a commitment. And I'm not good at doing just one project. So I have a gal in my knitting group, hi Johnny. She is really good about, when she does the Stephen West knit along, she just plugs herself in and that's what she does. I'm not as good at that. I like to dabble all over the place, and so I don't know if it's my ADHD or what, but I feel like I can't just focus for too long on any one thing. So anyhow, this is the MusicKAL, the Mystery Knit Along for 2025 by Stephen West. And yeah, let me hold that up one more time, because isn't she lovely? Oh my God, you guys. Oh. Now, I'm not saying I'm ever going to do a Stephen West knit along again. I'm not saying I'm not going to. But what I am going to say is, if I were to do one again, I would be braver with my colors. I love these colors. These colors are very me. I'm going to wear this shawl probably for the rest of my life. But that being said, I don't want another one just like it. So I think it'd be really fun to do one in basically like a deep, like a bright coral, and kind of a really pinky pink, and then like a light pink, and maybe like a golden yellow or a purple would be nice. Something just, it'd be fun to just have a really bright piece. It would just be, I mean, it would be a statement. But never gonna do this one again, and I'm not sure I'm up to it this October. But someday, because he does these every year, so you know, there's a chance that someday I will be brave enough to do that again. All right, so let's move on to my whips. Next up, I have the Aureliano, that is a pattern by Claudia Quintanilla of Unit Toronto, and it is in her book Memory Lane. I'm knitting a size 2, and that is on a US 4, and I'm using Camellia Fiber Co.'s mohair that I picked up at Flock Fiber Festival last year. And the colors that I chose are Red Poppy, Moonflower, Blue Iris, and Sweet Pea. So those are the colors that I'm using, and this is held double throughout the entire project. And so, you know, I understand the concept of yarn weight, but I don't know that when I chose this pattern I was thinking it all the way through, because you are using mohair held double to do all of our color work. This is going to be so warm. So I started this sweater with the 12 Days of Knitmas, and I just recently picked it back up again. The construction on it is a circular yoke, and it's top down. You start with the collar, and this collar is intended to be folded down when you're done. So pretend, I'm not folding it down yet because I'm not sure I'm going to. We haven't decided, but that's the concept. And then you just have this beautiful color work all the way through. I did have some issues at one point and had to rip out pretty much all of it. It wasn't going to be all of it. It was going to be one row. I was going to rip out like one row because the stitch count was funky. And I went to rip out one row, and it ended up being, I couldn't. And I was like, okay, one more row, and that'll be, no. mohair, and this mohair had been sitting for, because like I said, I started it with the 12 days of knitmas and just recently picked it back up. So it had been sitting for quite some time. And so there was zero chance that that mohair was coming out nicely. I struggled so hard, so I would never do that again. I would have just fudged the stitch count if I were to do that again. That all to say, look at how lovely she's turning out. So I finished the body, and I am now working on the sleeve, and it looks all scrunched up because we're just starting on the sleeve. But look at the pattern on that. Won't that be lovely? And I did try it on before I started the sleeves, and it's good. It's really good. And I did do it calls for a 1x1 rib, and then I did a sew and bind off on it. And I was worried that the mohair was going to be a pain in the butt to do, but it wasn't. It went well. No issues with that. Sew and bind off with the double mohair. So I'm just thinking about the practicality of this sweater being mohair held double and all over colorwork. I mean, it's going to be super luxurious and so warm. Yeah, so this might be like something that I relegate to North Dakota. But it's really beautiful. Maybe I'll just wear it at work and have a fan on me while I wear it. So I am just thinking that at this point it's going to be pretty smooth sailing from here. Like, I don't want to jinx myself, but it should be pretty simple. So basically I've got one set of repeats done on the sleeve. It seems everything worked out. So it seems like that's all going to be fine. And then I just have the next sleeve to get going and make sure the counts are fine. And then it should be just smooth sailing. And so hopefully we have this off the needle soon so that I can check that off my list. I am working really hard to try to get some of these off of my needles. Some of these older languishing whips off the needles so that I can feel a little lighter in my knitting. A little bit more free to just cast something new on. Be a little bit more spontaneous with my knitting, if that makes sense. So next up, my next whip, another languishing whip. That's the one I cast on last summer. And it's languishing, my bad. There's no reason, it's just languishing. So I want to get this done this summer so that I can wear it, because it's going to be a very nice wearable piece for summer. This is My Line by Pernille Larsen, made with Knitting for All of Pure Silk in the colorways Dark Cognac and Undyed. So here we have the Dark Cognac, and then here we have the Undyed. So those are the two colors. I'm knitting it up in a size 2, and I'm knitting it up on a US 2.5. Now the construction on this is pretty unique. So basically you cast on one side, and then you are just knitting and stockinette using short rows for shaping. How cool is that? This is just always short rows. And then coming along and you're just knitting, like basically I just have to knit a straight panel here and then connect them, and I have a tank top. So I'm going to get this off and kind of show you. So nothing complicated. If you can do a German short row, this is not complicated. There we go. So basically, that's what we're looking at. Won't that be adorable? So the only issue that I've come across here, and we talked a little bit about it last time we talked about this, was on this cast on right here. And let me explain. So, like I said, you cast on right here, and then you're knitting away, and you're increasing stitches here, right? To get, and then you cast on a whole bunch to get this strap. Okay, and then you're working back and forth with short rows. You can kind of see the short rows there a little bit to get that side of the body done. And then you're doing decreases to the neckline right here. You're doing these decreases. Then you do a few increases here, but then you have to cast on a slew of stitches right here. Now what she told us to do in the pattern was to do, I mean, it was casting on like over 100 with the knitted cast on method. I don't know if you've done that, but it leaves a flared edge. And I kind of went with it for a little while, but I was like, that is not going to work. That is going to look ridiculous. I can't. So I tore it all out and then recast it on with the long, just the traditional long tail cast on, and it's so much better. I hope I don't grow to regret it, but it's way better. And then all I have left, wait a minute, I said long tail, I meant backwards loop cast on. Sorry. So all I have left to do is, gosh, just a few more inches, I guess. So how many more inches? Probably, well, quite a few more inches. So probably like that much more, but there's no increases or decreases. It's just straight knitting at this point, or straight stockinette rather. So it's a good one for sitting in front of the television and zoning out, because you're really not having to pay really close attention to anything. You're just knitting and purling. I'm not even having to count anymore. So it's getting to be a much more mindless project. And at the end, it's going to be finished off. These edges are going to get finished off with some kind of an I-cord cast off. So that'll be good. Like I said, I'm very hopeful that I have this done by the end of this month. There's a lot going on this month with Tour de Fleece. So that might be a little ambitious, but I really want this for August. So fingers crossed that we get it done. Fingers crossed. All right, so next up, I have another Languishing whip. You guys, I am proud of myself for pulling all these out and working on them, because I cast these all on for a reason. I do love them and I do want the finished object, but so a word to the wise. What I would say on whips is, what I've learned about myself in whips is that if I let them languish too long, it almost feels like I've been working on them that entire time. And so I guess they must still be like sitting in the back of my head, like me constantly thinking of them, because it feels like I've been working on some of these forever, and I really haven't. They've been on my needles forever, but they've not been knit forever. Does that make sense? It just feels that way. So that's kind of an interesting kind of phenomenon that's happening that I'm realizing. And one of the reasons why I kind of want to get my whip count down, so that I enjoy the whips more and it doesn't feel like, oh my God, another this whip's been on my needles forever type of thing. So that all being said, the next one that we're going to talk about is a striped half and half triangles wrap by Purl Soho. Now, I have really had issues with that. This might be part of the reason this one feels like forever, but it's knit up in linen quilt, which I am learning to love. So I started casting this on with the US 4 in my Chalgu, and I got a lot. I got this much done, and it looked sloppy. I'm like, it does not look good. It's not going to block out. So as you know, I ripped that all out. Tried it again with the US 3, same thing. Tried it again with the US 2.5, same thing. And finally I'm like, okay, I'm going to try one more time with the Bamboo 2.5 and see. And that seems to be the winner. So I've actually gotten through the bottom stripe, and I'm working on the second stripe finally, you guys. Can you believe it? What's interesting is once I got past this color right here and started working on this color, what is this color called? It is called, I'm sorry, Peachy Pink. This Peachy Pink, it's also in linen quilt, but it is such a different texture. And it's knitting up so much nicer, I think. So I don't know what the deal is. This one feels a little flaxier, if that makes sense. I love the linen quill, but I think I like the colored linen quill better than the natural. And I'm going to reserve judgment because I still have several more colors to add. So these are the colors that we have left to add to the shawl. Won't that be beautiful? Very excited. Very excited. But here's what we have so far. And how this shawl works is you knit, or you cast on all the stitches, and it's a lot. And then it's knit and garter stitch. So you knit all the way to the other side, and then excuse me, you knit almost all the way to the other side, and then you do a wrap and turn stitch, and then come back, and then the next time you go one short of that and come back, and so on and so forth. So we're working kind of this diagonal right here. I don't know if you can tell. You see how that's kind of a diagonal? And then my understanding is you're going to come on the other side and work the color, like work it back in the other way. I'm not explaining that very well. I understand that. But right now we're using wrap and turns, and then we use these wrap and locks, I guess, or something like that. Wrap and turn lock stitch, something like that, to come back and add the other colors in on the other side. But it's going to be very beautiful and very fun, and more of a casual type of shawl. It's almost going to be more like for me, something I'm hoping to be able to just throw over my chair at work and just be able to, put over my shoulders if I'm a little chilly, almost like a blanket. Who knows? That's kind of my thought right now, but that could change. And this is my work project, and so I've gotten a lot done at work. And I just do it between patients and so what I've learned is I can now pretty much knit this project and read at the same time. So I work on my continuing education hours while I'm knitting, and so between patients, so I am not wasting any time at work. I feel very productive. So this is the striped half and half triangles wrap by Purl Soho. And again, this has been on the needles forever, but I frogged it so many times that this one just is going to feel like a forever project. It really is. But you know what? There's no deadline in knitting. So I'm just going to enjoy the process, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so next up, I have the Clog Sock by Summer Lee. So this is the Farmer Daughter Fiber Sock Squad June 2026 colorway. It's called Wild Violet, and it's in the Rocky Mountain Purls base, which is 80% BFL and 20% nylon. Look at that. So pretty. And then I'm not using the contrast color that they sent. I am using some scrap yarn that I had. So we're knitting up the Clog Sock by Summer Lee in a size medium on a US 1. Now this incorporates a strong heel. And so her strong heel is bordered by a cable. Can you see that? How stinking cute is that? And so what I did on top, so the color that came was a deep version of this, violet. And so I felt like these cables would not show up well and would get lost in it. So I picked out these colors instead. Aren't they fun though? Ah, it's going to be a fun sock. So I'm getting close to down on one. I am so far behind on, I was so close to being caught up, you guys, with Sock Squad, and now I'm way far behind. But again, there's no deadlines. They're only self-imposed. So, yeah, that's a size medium Clog Sock by Summer Lee, knit up in a US 1 using a strong heel. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. I love the look of it. The construction, I'll tell you after I do the second one. Because the first one, it's your first time doing it, and so you're a little lost. I'm hoping the second one feels a little bit more user-friendly. But I like the look of it a lot. A lot. So, I can't wait to get this one done and get the second one cast on, because I want these on my feet. And how cute would that little detail be poking out of your Birkenstock clogs? Come on, guys. How cute. Come on, yarn. How cute is that? I really do love that. And some of you were asking, or I shouldn't say you were asking, we were talking about my cable needle. So I have a couple different cable needles that I use. I like them both for different reasons. So if I have a really fiddly cable, especially one on tiny needles, this is a really good one right here. So you can see it has a really small end right here. And right here, it actually clips, like the stitches kind of tuck into right there. and it holds it very securely. So it's very good for fiddly cable. Very good for fiddly cables. Now, they don't have this one available in the shop anymore. I'll link the shop below, but they have a smaller one that I ordered, and I don't have it yet. I'll show it to you when I get it. But it's just a little bit smaller, but it would work maybe even better, I think, than this one. But this is a good one. Now, if I have a little bit bigger cable that's not as fiddly, this is a good one too, right here. Now, the difference with this is a little heavier. This one's a little bit heavier, which is kind of nice. So you just clip, however many stitches in, let it dangle. And if it's not a super complicated cable, this is really nice because it's easier to get on and off. So they each kind of have their own purpose, but I'll have them both linked in the notes below. So you can check those out if you're interested. I don't have any affiliation with these companies, but I do like these these cable hooks. All right, so that was the Clog Sock by Summer Lee. Actually, it's called the Clog Sock Light by Summer Lee Designs. And here she is. I really love that Farmer Daughter. You guys nailed it. You knocked it out of the park this month in regards to colorway. That is a beautiful lilac. So, very, very beautiful. So next up, remember just a couple minutes ago when I said having too many projects on the needles keeps you from being able to spontaneously cast things on. Well, that's not always true. Somehow I still find a way. I have been knitfluenced. I am easily knitfluenced. I know there's actually a podcaster out there who says she's easily knitfluenced. She's got nothing on me, baby. She's got nothing on me. But I saw Rachel from Table 10 cast this on. And it's kind of a thing out there in the podcast world. A lot of the podcasters are doing this, and we're inviting people to join us. So I invite you to join us on this informal knit along of the Cygnus Shawl. Now, this is a pattern by Amy Christoffers, also known as Savory Knitting. I think it's a knit up on a US 5, and it's a mosaic pattern. And I originally was going to use my handspun right here. So this is Nest Fiber Club, and I used two different colorways. So it's a fractal spin because I wanted a longer color changes. And so I just split the braid right down in half, and I split it like mozzarella cheese, split it in half, and then spun each half up end to end to give these longer color shifts. And then I did this. So one of them was Polworth in the colorway Smitten, and the second one was Merino in the colorway Tulip. And then I applied them together. And here's what we got. I'm going to put up, I think I have do I have a picture of the braid before yeah. I'll put up a picture here of the braid before I wound it up. It shows the colors better. I was originally going to pair it with the Spinster's Daughter, which is a 100% wool from Farmer Daughter Fiber. It's a sport weight, and it's black. It's actually their collaboration with Spin Cycle, and it's in this black. And it would have, here it is spun up. That would have been beautiful. Very contrasty. And I did start knitting it, but I felt like it was too contrasty. I love contrast, don't get me wrong, but I felt like it was almost the wrong contrast. Does that make sense? I looked through my stash. I still wanted a lot of contrast, but I wanted something that was a little, I don't know, just a little different, just something different. I can't tell you what it was about that I wasn't enjoying as much as I had hoped. So I found this. It is Wine. It's moonspun, 100% superwash wool, sport weight in the colorway Wine, and it's moonspun. It's the Moondrake Moonspun by Spin Cycle. Now, you may recognize this colorway. I know Isley did. This little girl from my knit group. I pulled this out this week, and she's like, "You used that for your tessellated pullover." I'm like, "Oh my god, yes I did." Isley, you are literally a walking genius. But this is the color I chose. So this is Wine, and that's black. It doesn't look much different, does it? But can you see just a subtle warmth in this compared to this? It's very subtle. And then you pair this with the handspun, and I just think it's just a better fit. Now, you're like, what are you doing with it? Tell us what you're doing with it. Okay, I'm going to show you. Here is the Cygnus Shawl so far. Oh my God. Look at that. I hope that's picking up. I am having so much fun watching this come together. Notice I said the fun was watching it come together. The pattern is not intuitive for me. Rachel's doing great with it. I was talking to her. She loves it. I'm not sure Renee loves it as much. So we'll see if she does it. I'm determined now. I'm in. You know, you're in for a penny, in for a pound type of thing. Yeah, that's me. I'm in now. But this is, oh my God, you guys, look at, is that not gorgeous? Oh my God. I'm having a hard time putting it down to knit other things. Probably why I didn't get as much done on some of my other projects as I had hoped, because I got carried away with this. But isn't knitting supposed to be about having fun? And this is, watching these colorways come together has been fun for me. And I'm absolutely thrilled with my decision to switch to the wine over the black. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think I made the right decision? And notice how the color shifts are kind of long. So see how this yellowish green, see how many rows it shifts over? It's a lot. And then this orangey pink, it's a lot. And so even as this gets longer, I'm hoping it maintains a little bit of the distinction in the colors. That's my hope. If it starts to get too muddled, I'll just start reducing, just start decreasing. But I think it's going to be okay. But yeah, that's, oh my God. So this might be one of my most spectacular, second most spectacular shawl. I don't know. I have a lot. So I really love shawls, and I actually wear them a lot. So I don't begrudge doing this at all. I have a number of shawls that I really love a lot. So I have my night shift that I wear the dickens out of. I have my, what's that one called? It's just a gray shawl by, oh dear. It's a floor shawl. The floor shawl. It's a beautiful shawl, and I knit it up in Sonderco. I forget which colorway it was. It's full of baubles. So I remember the baubles giving me a run for my money. Anyway, I wear that one a lot. I have my Birds of a Feather here that I wear a lot. I wear a lot of shawls, and now my Stephen West one I'm going to wear the crap out of. And I can see this one being a huge one that I wear all the time. And then I have plans to make the Inclinations shawl, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm a shawl girl. I am a shawl girl. So that is the Cygnus Shawl by Amy Christoffers of Savory Knitting. I want to pull that out again for you to see the whole color shift. Ah! Yeah, I am in love. All right. Now we are going to move on to the French braid segment. As you guys know, Tour de Fleece is well underway. Tour de Fleece is a spinning challenge that goes on during the Tour de France, which is a cycling race. And so the idea is that every day that they ride, you spin. And so I have been spinning my little heart out. I've been having so much fun. So one of the spins that I did that was not, it was part of the Tour de Fleece, but it's not part of the big project. So I want to talk about this one first. This one is called Walking on Sunshine. 100%, sorry, it's 80% superwash merino, 20% silk by Stacy of RiverRat Yarns, and it's in the colorway Walking on Sunshine. And my God, this was such a delight to spin, you guys. That shawl requires 7 different colors or colorways that are then knit together to make this shawl. I bought the Podcaster collection by Yarn Jam, which had 5 different colorways in it. It had Big Sis Energy from Table 10, that's Rachel's colorway. We have Little Sis Energy from Table 10, that's Renee's colorway. We have Graceful Blooms by Knit and Grace. And then we have Stitches in Starlight, and then Winter Pines by Botanical Knits. And so that's 5 colorways. And so I needed a 6th. And so I thought, well, I'll do my own. And which most appropriately would probably be RiverRat yarn. RiverRat yarn's fiber, their Impatience colorway, which I can never get straight. I always call it my obsession. Because you're my obsession. You're my obsession. Anyway, so those, I thought, put all those together, or rather spin all those separately, and then knit it up into the Inclinations Cowl. So I've already done a few. I have the Grace and Blooms done. Now what I'm doing this, I'm doing a 3-ply. And so what I do is I split it in thirds. And then one of the thirds I just spin up straight. The other third I cut in half and then spin that end to end. And then the third I split in 4 to 6, kind of depending on, and spin that end to end, then I'll apply them all together. So that gives a color shift to it. So this is the Graceful Blooms by Knit and Grace, or for Knit and Grace by Yarn Jam. Isn't that, oh, how fun is that? So that's the first one. And then I did my Impatience by RiverRat. Oh, turned out so good. And those two actually complement each other to a certain extent. Now they don't have to match, but they both have some pink in it. But the one that looks better with this is the Botanical Knits, or the Winter Pines colorway for Botanical Knits by Yarn Jam. Look at that. So look at these two together. Now they don't match, right? And that's not the intent. But how I'm understanding this is that it's a half fisherman's rib that you're doing flat, and so using 2 colors. And so I think those would be complementary, but yet both stand out together. And then I just have to choose which one goes with this colorway, my Impatience, which I think is going to go with, this will go nicely either with the Stitches in Starlight or one of the Table 10s. I haven't decided, but I have several of them done. I'm done with 3 out of the 6, plus I have this one done. Plus I have one that I have to still show you. It's hanging to dry. I'm not going to show you today. We'll save that for next time. But that is, I'm getting so much done, you guys. So excited. It's been very fun to just really dive into the spin and not feel guilty about taking time away from knitting. So that's what I do in the evenings. When Mr. Knott and I are watching TV, I have my Daedalus Dove out right by my spot that I watch television, and we're watching Criminal Minds from the beginning. And there's 20 some odd seasons, so that'll definitely get us through Tour de Fleece and maybe beyond. So that's my plan so far. Now, I also have a big project this weekend that I plan on starting, and that's processing the fleece that Mr. Knott got me. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, very hot. It's dry here, and so we should not have any trouble processing the fleece and getting it to dry. And then next weekend I go to North Dakota, so I won't be able to work on it, but then the following weekend I'm hoping to be able to get it carded. And my objective is to vlog that for you so you can see the process. I hope you're interested. We'll see. But I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to see how that works. It'll be a first time for me, and so I just hope you are interested and want to follow along with the journey. So that's all I have for spinning, I think. Now, let's talk a little bit about acquisitions. I just want to talk a little bit about the Farmer Daughter Fibers sock squad that came for July. It is in the colorway, I gotta get my glasses on, guys. It stinks getting old. So it's in the colorway, it's a Highwood sock blend, which is 80% merino, 20% nylon, in the colorway Tides. And guys, if this doesn't look like a tide, I don't know. Look at that. Oh, I mean, that is gorgeous. And I've been waiting for a colorway to do the mermaid sock in. And I think that would be absolutely perfect for the mermaid sock. Don't you think? The mermaid sock by Summer Lee, I'll put up a picture of it here, but I think this would be perfect for that. So that's tentatively my plans for the July sock squad. So I have recently been made an affiliate for Purl Soho. And what that means is if you're going to buy Purl Soho yarn and you choose to click on my link, I'll receive a small commission for that. It won't cost you anything extra. You can buy the sale yarn and still get the sale price. It makes no difference. It just gives a little bit of support to the show. If you choose to use it, I appreciate it very much. So I will link that below. But on that note, I got some Purl Soho yarn for myself for some summer knits that I want to do. So here's what I got: some of their Chirp cotton Chirp DK, which is 100% Peruvian Pima cotton. And guys, it is light worsted / DK, and it is so soft. It is so soft. So I chose these two pinks. What's that pink called? Pink ice. So I got the pink ice, and then to go with the pink ice, I chose this. Oh, what is it called? Firecracker Red. I'm not sure I'm going to put it together, but those were my initial thoughts. But the pink isn't quite as pink as I thought it would be, and so that might be good just on its own. We'll see. But I do have the option. So one skein of this is, oh darn. Here we go. Is like 232 yards. So this is like 460 yards right here. But this would be cute. But I'm not quite sure that the colors were quite what I wanted. I would have wanted a little bit more reddy red. This is a little orangey, but I'll figure something out. I do love it. Then the second option that I brought up was, this is the Golden Honey. Love this color. And that paired with Campfire Orange. Look at that. Now that's good. That is good. And so I have two. And this yarn, you guys, I can't wait to knit with this. This is so nice. But I told myself I can't cast on a t-shirt until I get done with the camisole that I'm working on, my line top. I cannot cast this on until I finish my line top that I'm working on. That has to be done first. But I am super excited about these yarns. They are going to be very fun, and I will figure something amazing to do with it, and I cannot wait to show you. But again, I'll put the affiliate link down below. Alright, welcome to the next segment, the French seam. Guys, I got the sewing bug hardcore, and last weekend I kind of went crazy. I sewed 6 garments. I can pretty much wear something handmade every day now, completely, top to bottom. So I'm very excited about that. The first thing that I made, it is again the Lane Pant by Sydney Graham, and I sewed this up with white viscose linen blend, and it's from Stone Mountain Daughters, I think is where I bought it from. And I'm so proud of myself. It has a drawstring, and so as you can see, I did a buttonhole. I did buttonholes. Let's see if you can see it. There we go. A little buttonhole there. My first buttonholes. And I made this just a light, flowy pant. I'm going to put pictures in of me wearing it. It's just a light, flowy pant that's going to go with so many different things. I made it extra long. I kept the length so that it's almost more of a dressy pant. And I'm just going to get so much wear out of this. I absolutely love these pants. So anyway, I'll put pictures up of them, of me wearing it, and I'm thrilled with these. And I cannot wait. And it's such a great summer piece. The linen is very light and flowy, but the viscose keeps it from wrinkling too bad. It still wrinkles, like it is linen. But it's going to be so good for work. I've already worn them once and got a ton of compliments on them. And yeah, that's the Lane Pant by Sydney Graham. Next up, I did the Summer Short by Hot Couture brand. And I sewed these up. It's a birchwood cotton linen in the colorway Sienna. So this was just supposed to be a plain pair of shorts, but I did add a pocket to it. Look at me modifying patterns already. So I took a pocket from another pattern and just incorporated it. And so now I have a pocket in my shorts. So I'll put some pictures of me wearing it up there, but this is kind of a little dressier short. My last shorts that I made were very casual. These are just a little more elevated, and so that's super fun. Those are the Hot Couture brand short, summer short. All right, next up I have the berry pants. So I made 2 pair of these. First I'm going to show you the ones in ochre, Fabulism watercolor woven in the colorway ochre. And I got this, I believe, from our Daughter Fibers. And I'll show you them on. But I am very proud of these. These turned out very well. These are the same ones that I made last podcast that I showed you that were too small. So I remade them in the correct size. And I absolutely love them. And I mean, they even have a little sewn pleat dart thing at the bottom too. Right there. To give it the barrel pant look. And then, so I made those in ochre, and then I made a second pair in that birchwood cotton linen that the shorts are made out of. And I'll show you. I'm wearing them right now. So I'll just stand up and show you. See? And then I made a little ruffle on top on this pair. And look at the cute little, I don't know if you can see, but the sewn down fly, but the top stitching. How fun is that? And I'll put in some footage of me wearing these because it's just not a good, this is not a good room to show this in. And then these are the bob pants by Stylark. Just a fun pair of pants that the colorway is just going to go with so many different things. It's in the Cafe Facette woven stripes line, and it's the exotic stripes in the warm that I used as far as fiber goes. Now, if you just search those words, I'm going to put down in the description below exactly the name, as best I can, the name of the fiber that I used. If you search those, it'll show you who sells them. If I give you a company that sells them, oftentimes it's no longer there. So I'll give you the manufacturer of the fiber and the colorway and allow you to search and find where they sell it, because they sell it in many different places. Anyway, so that's them. And these are super baggy, comfortable, almost pajama pants. Meant to be super cozy, and they're super lightweight for summer. And yeah, I really like these. Now, I am pretty proud of these. So the front, you're not able to match up super well, which is kind of too bad, but it's just kind of the nature of the way the pattern is cut. However, I was able to do a very nice job of matching on the sides. Oh, I'm not going to be able to show you. There, look at that side. Look at that, how nicely that's matched up. And then I kind of did the same over right there. I was very proud of that. That took some thinking and some matching and some fiber shifting, but it was fun to make that work out. All right, and then we have the dance pants by Thread and Spout. And this is done in Fabulism Sun Stripes in the colorway Pink Wine. And I did get this from Stash Fabrics, but you can find it any place that sells the Fabulism Sun Stripes in Pink Wine. So, and here those are. Let's see. There you go. So that's just a very fun one too. Isn't that fun? I'll show you some better footage up there. That'll be much better, but you get the idea. All right, guys, that's a wrap. I want to thank you so much for sticking with me to the end if you're still here. And I want to apologize for the snafus that we had with the last catch-up. I don't know what to tell you. Technology some days, right? I want to remind you about the summer tee, Knit Along with You, Knit Toronto. I'm hoping to be able to get going on mine soon. There's no timeline on this. It's just going to be good motivation to get us knitting up some summer knits. And so just have fun with it, guys. And if you need yarn, I have a Purl Soho affiliate link down below, and I would appreciate anybody who is going to buy Purl Soho yarn. If you do use that affiliate link, no pressure to buy Purl Soho, but if you are going to buy, I do appreciate the support. So that affiliate link is down below. Guys, I just appreciate you being here so much. All of your support just means the world to me. And if you enjoyed this content and want to see more, I would just really love if you would give this video a like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a hype. All of it is appreciated. All of it supports the channel. All of it means the world to me. Guys, I just love you guys so much, and I can't wait to see you at Flock. Who's going to Flock? I need to know who's going to Flock. Drop it in the comments below if you're going to be at Flock. I want to be able to get a meetup scheduled. My hope is with the next video, we're gonna have to make some final plans pretty soon. So I'll be posting that, I think, in our next catch-up video, which will be right before Flock. So if you're going to be there, drop me a comment below so we can start making plans, and then I can make the final announcement in our next catch-up video. So until next time, happy knitting!